Hello, everyone. Welcome to This Week in Politics. Well, sorry to be so cryptic in the introduction of the program, but in order to get around algorithms, sometimes we have to talk in code, write in code. Otherwise, I get more shadow banned if that's possible. So, what project? We're going to talk about Project Veritas. And that is an unbelievable program this reporter is doing. Uh, he's exposing the deep state and he's videotaping it. And when we talk about you be the judge, we're talking about uh, Judge Kavanaugh and the saga that continues because of the weak leadership in the Republican Party. But we'll get into all that. But the first thing I want to do is we're kicking off our new push to get people to go to our website. And for those of you that have watched my shows before, you know that this program and my website called The Right Wing Reverend have experienced just about every kind of censorship from Facebook specifically, and also YouTube, from shadow banning to the blue circle of hell, to deleting projects, to Facebook jail, um, just all kinds of interference. So I am convinced that by the time the 2020 election comes around, we will no longer be on either one of these platforms. I believe they're coming for us. They're coming obviously for us. So and I don't want to end up like Infowars did, just 2.5 million followers one day and completely gone off the air the next. I don't want to be that. So the forward is forearmed. So the sign you see over my shoulder here is going to be in every program we do for as long as we're on the air. And uh, the reason is manyfold. As long as we have the format and the social sites, we should use it to push our websites so that when we are gone from the social websites, people will be able to find us at our website. Now, as you can see from the sign behind me, the name of the website is prayerboxministry.org, and then below it is a lot of things that you can do over there on the website. I ask one thing. When you go to our website, if you like it, do one of two things for me. Bookmark it or put an icon on your desktop for it. And here's why. It's easy to remember when you see it every week or every day, depending on which programs you watch. But when you don't get that reminder all the time, it's easy to forget the name of the ministry. If you have an icon on your desktop or a bookmark, you can get to it. If I'm off of the air tomorrow, you will be able to find us and watch our stuff. I did a program yesterday for the Right Wing Reverend that went through most of these things here that you can find, a little 2-minute summary on each one. Also, today I'm going to do a couple of 2 or 3-minute videos, and we're going to start pushing those and boosting those as often as we can for not only my followers, but for non-followers. Give them a chance to go over and see it also. I want to use this time and opportunity to the best of our ability, and we have to get started quickly because as far as I know, tomorrow could be my last day on the sites. So if you'd like to help, all you have to do is hit share down at the bottom and share this video with as many people as you can. The Prayer Box Ministry is we've put a lot of years and a lot of time and effort into the website. There's a lot of content over there. And the sign behind me, you see the RWR. That stands for Right Wing Reverend. We've got coming up on 5 years worth of programs over there. And then a couple more down, you see TWIP. That stands for this program, This Week in Politics. We've got about a year and a half of programs over there, in addition to all the other stuff. So go over there, take a look. If you like it, either put an icon on your desktop or bookmark it, and then just share this video so that as many people as possible can see it. All right. Oh, and be watching for our videos too, little 2 or 3 minute videos. Okay, first thing I want to talk about is Project Veritas. Now, this Project Veritas, the reporter's name is James O'Keefe. He is the one that exposed Acorn. Remember that criminal organization that Obama helped and funded his first election? Well, he had given them millions and millions and millions of dollars. They were nothing but a bunch of thugs. Then after he got elected, he put them in the budget the first year, and they received millions of dollars from that. This guy found them out, and they disbanded and took the money. This is the guy that did it. What he's done this time is he's taken an undercover camera and gone to people in the deep state and got them to admit what they were doing in the deep state and proving. See, the liberals want to say there's no such thing as a deep state. We know that's a lie, but until they admit it, until there's proof, they can deny it all day long, and we can't disprove it. We have the proof. So what he does is he gets these undercover cameras, he goes, identifies these people, then interviews them and gets them to admit what they do. The most recent one that was videoed and released to the Justice Department, I believe, is an employee from an auditor from the Government Accountability Office, GAO. He admits, was it a he or a she? I believe it was a he. Admits to breaking the law on the job to take down Trump. And he laughed about it and said, even if I'm caught, they can't fire me. I'm a civil servant. Ah, there's the weakness in the deep state. All we have to do is break the civil service and we can clean the swamp thoroughly. But they all know they can't be fired. That is a bad, bad thing. They admit to using government assets to slow down or stop any progress by the administration. There was a piece of software that they use on the job that they can hunt down individual people. They can run license plates. They can find out anything about you, and they can mess with you to any degree they want to. And they admit to doing this, singling people out because they support Trump. And they're laughing about it. And when asked, could you get in trouble for doing that? They said, oh yeah, this is a fireable offense. But they can't fire me because I'm civil servant. He admits to working every single day using government time and government assets, more than just the software, to slow down and take down Donald Trump. Their goal in the deep state is to destroy capitalism and conservatism. That's their stated goal. And they're using the government, which means we the people, using our money and our time and our assets, our computers, all of the government assets, to stop the government that we the people duly elected. I'm sorry, I have a problem with that, and that's the deep state. Now, I've said this many times before, and I will say it again. The reason it came to light, Obama did under his administration. He advised, ordered the leaders of all of the Justice, FBI, CIA, Education Department, IRS, EPA, to fire all of the administration appointees, fire them all, reorganize the place, and eliminate as many positions as possible. Then, all the people that you fired, rename those jobs, put them under civil service, and then hire as many left-wingers as you can to fill those slots. What happened now is Trump comes in. He has no government employees to put into these. There's no openings to put his people in. So he's running the government with Obama holdovers, and he can't fire them because they're civil service. Do you see how insidious that was? So now Trump is dealing with a hostile government that should be his government. And every time we talk about it, and the only ones talking about it is the conservatives and Tea Party, and every time we talk about it, the establishment and the Democrats and the liberals all say there's no such thing as a deep state, that's just a conspiracy theory. Well, we know that's not true. And now we have audio and video proof of that. This is the second one they've got. Now, I haven't heard this publicly, but it's my understanding that he spent 30 days on this project. So I believe there's many more videos to come. He's released 2, and I believe there's many more to come. And I hope, if nothing else, than just the ones he videotaped and got them to admit, they get fired, at the very least. Now, let's talk about You Be the Judge, or the Judge Kavanaugh dirty trick game. Now, what they're doing to Judge Kavanaugh is right out of the Democrats' dirty tricks playbook. They use it ever so often. They did it to Judge Clarence Thomas. He survived, but the left never let that die. They've made movies and TV stories and books about Clarence Thomas and Anita Hill, and they're going to do the same thing to Judge Kavanaugh. The problem with the Judge Kavanaugh thing is if the Republicans don't grow a backbone, they're going to let this guy slip through, and then we're going to have nothing. And the most recent example of this dirty trick is Roy Moore. Remember the special election they had down in Alabama? And Roy Moore was leading. He's an ultra conservative. I loved Roy Moore. And then they had all these young girls coming out, or women coming out and saying that he had dated them when he was in his 30s and 40s and they were in their teens. And they had about 4 or 5 of these women come forward. I said at the time, this is a dirty trick. And if he loses, these women are all going to disappear and nothing's going to come of it. And that's exactly what happened. Roy Moore got defeated. A liberal Democrat took that seat because of the dirty tricks they did on Roy Moore. Now, hopefully, Alabama will set things right this next election, because he wasn't for 6 years. It was only a special election until this upcoming election. So hopefully that's a seat that the Republicans have got their eyes on. But Roy Moore lost, ruined his career. Remember, I've been talking about the scorched earth project that the Democrats are engaging in, and that's exactly what happened. Roy Moore had a distinguished career. He was a judge that the liberals got thrown off of the court twice because he was interpreting the Constitution instead of listening to men. Then he ran, he won the Republican nomination, and then the Democrats, the liberals, and money from Hollywood and Silicon Valley flooded in down there, and he outspent Roy Moore. I don't know what it was, some ungodly number, like 20 to 1. Plus had all these women come out, and the liberal barely won. With all of those assets against Roy Moore, he almost won, but destroyed his life. destroyed his career, destroyed his reputation, and the women that were making those accusations disappeared. Nothing happened. Nothing happened. Now, I have said from the beginning, and I continue to say now on the Kavanaugh thing, these women that come forward, if you're going to come forward and make these kind of accusations, one of two things is going to happen. Somebody's going to jail. If it's proven that Kavanaugh did these things, he deserves to be in jail. But if it's proven that it never happened, she needs to go to jail. You can't just arbitrarily ruin a man's career because you don't like his politics. And right now, there's no consequences for these women. All these liberals are doing are saying, hey, we'll get you a book deal and we'll give you $100,000 if you'll come out and say this and endure the press until the election. Who wouldn't take that deal? This woman doesn't know what year it happened, doesn't know where it happened, doesn't know when it happened, doesn't know who was there when it happened, doesn't know what the party was, doesn't even remember what year it was. And somehow that's supposed to be evidence against her. She comes in at the last minute, just like these women did with Judge Roy Moore. The events that both of them are talking about were many, many years ago. So the statute of limitations on anything is expired. So even if it was done, there's nothing that can be done, and that's the problem. There ought to be a law that says when a woman comes forward and makes this type of an accusation, somebody's going to jail. And I don't care about the statute of limitations. If you're willing to come out and do this and get a 50-50 chance of going to jail, then it's going to be serious. But as long as there's no consequences for the female, she's got nothing to lose. This woman, whether she's successful or not against Kavanaugh, she's already being taken care of, money-wise. And I guarantee you there will be a book deal or a TV deal or a movie deal when this is over. You watch. She's got nothing to lose. So we need to make that law. When these women come forward, somebody's going to jail. And that ought to be the name of the law. Somebody's going to jail. There's no proof. There is no proof. She says there was a witness. We've talked, or the lawyers have talked to this person. He says, I don't know what she's talking about. I don't even know what party she's talking about. Roy Moore lost his election, lost his career because of these types of women. And nothing happened to the women. Now, with the Judge Kavanaugh thing, they've already put this off over a week, and that's the whole goal of the left here. They want to put this thing off till after the election. And the Republicans have let it go a week. And the Republicans offered to fly to California, which is where she's at. Shock and surprise. She is a left-wing activist. Shock and surprise. Now, the left will say, well, nobody would put themselves through this just to disrupt. That's what left-wing liberals do. That's their goal for existing, is to disrupt the system and take our mind and our attention off of the successes of Donald Trump, and let's focus on unprovable things so that we can hurt and disrupt the system. But Senator Grassley offered to fly the whole team out to California and take her information in private. They offered if she came to Washington, she could have a public hearing or a private hearing. They were giving her the choice. Here's the problem that I have with this. This woman is disrupting the set rules for this Justice Committee. This committee doesn't fly all over the place to get information, but he's willing to do that. I think he's being way too generous. When all of that failed and she said, no, I'm not coming. I'm not coming. It's too soon. I'm not ready. After 37 years, she's not ready. But again, it was a stall tactic. And they should have, at that point, the Republicans should have said, okay, fine, we gave you your opportunity. You don't want to be heard. Let's take the vote. That's what should have happened. That's not what happened. Her attorney contacted Grassley and the committee, and she issued a list of demands. Now, I want you to think about that for a minute. The attorney for this lady that has no proof, no witnesses, can't even tell you what year it happened or where it happened, is making demands on the U.S. government subcommittee. And they're negotiating. That's what I don't get. Here's what they were. Her attorney's name is Deborah Katz. She's also a left-wing attorney, ultra left-wing, never Trumper, anti-male. That's who her attorney is. And I would be willing to bet this attorney has been provided for and paid for by the left-wing liberals. But here was her list of demands. She said, I insist the judge, meaning Kavanaugh, not be present during her statement. I insist that you guarantee my witness's safety. I insist. Not Monday, but next Thursday is when we do this. I insist that an FBI have an investigation first. That my client testify after him. I insist there be no questioning by any outside attorneys except for the people on the panel. Wow. She insists. Well, let's go down there and let's look at these demands and why she's making these demands. Our Constitution says that when you are accused of something, you have the right to face your accuser. So the first demand, that the judge not be present, is a violation of the Constitution. I insist that you guarantee her safety. Can you guarantee that the bank will be open tomorrow? Can you guarantee anything? Can you guarantee that you will even be alive tomorrow? It's not possible to guarantee somebody's safety. I insist that you not meet on Monday, this Monday when the deadline was, but you do it next Thursday. That's putting it off a week and a half. At what point did the senators lose control of this committee and have some left-wing liberal female judge from California dictate terms to you about when you meet to do your job? At what point did that happen? Did I miss something? I insist there be an FBI investigation first. Now, the left is saying, well, that'll only take a couple of days. That's no big deal. Well, we've had a week and a half negotiating, then it's a week and a half to put it off. That's 3 weeks, and then it'll be another week for the investigation, then a week after that to reschedule. We're out a month and a half, and that's the election. That's what they're trying to do. The problem with having an FBI investigation in any way, shape, or form, they've already submitted it. And the FBI looked at it and said, there's no crime here. You know, we don't do domestic stuff. We do criminal stuff. There's no crime here. And even if there was, a statute of limitations is expired, we're not touching this. So it's not even possible that that demand be met. I insist that my client testify after him. Now, why would she say that? Under our Constitution, in the legal realm, a person is innocent till proven guilty. She, as the accuser, must testify first. Otherwise, there is no legal reason for him to testify, because until it's in the record, he hasn't been accused of anything. So how could he possibly respond to something that hasn't happened yet? Legally, she has to go first. She has to accuse him, and then he gets the opportunity to rebut. That's the law. So the fact that her attorney, think about that, her attorney is making this request is unconstitutional. It can't be done. I insist that no questioning by anyone except panel members. Now, why would she ask that? Well, to that. Number one, even though those people on the panel might be attorneys, they haven't been practicing attorneys for years, some of them decades. So they're not used to questioning. They don't know what kind of questions to ask. And it's all men on that panel. And I think this is the key. Men are not going to beat this woman up on the stand. Judge Kavanaugh, being the smart man that he is, hired a female attorney who specializes in defamation of character cases. And she's a female, and she will take it to this witness. Now, this witness's attorney, Deborah Katz, does not want her client tore up on the stand. So she's saying, yeah, we're not going to have any attorneys, well, except me. I'll have to be there. But he can't have anybody to cross-examine my witness or my client. Almost everything in these demands are illegal and unconstitutional. So why would she make these demands if they are illegal and unconstitutional? Well, first off, it's distracting. It's going to take everybody's attention off of, let's get this thing done before the midterms. Remember, their goal is not to stop Kavanaugh. Their goal is to put this thing off until after the midterms, which is in about 5 or 6 weeks. So now they're going to spend time negotiating and debating and looking at the pros and cons of each one of these and why we should and why we shouldn't. It's drawing a line in the sand. It's blurring the lines between legal and illegal, between right and wrong is what it's blurring the line. As an example, to the average person that does not pay attention, let's take the first one. I insist that the judge not be present when my client testifies. To half of the population, most of the women out there, and some of the left-wing men will say, well, that makes perfectly good sense. I mean, it's got to be an embarrassing thing, and who wants to discuss that in front of the guy who did it? That would just be intimidating to her. It makes perfectly good sense. However, the problem with that is it's unconstitutional. And it doesn't matter if it's a man or a woman. The Constitution does not say you have the right to face your accusers unless it's a female and it's uncomfortable for her. It doesn't say that. So this attorney is working on the public opinion, which is what these confirmation hearings are about. It's not about legal or illegal. It's about public opinion. And that's what these are designed to do. Blur the lines between legal and illegal, right and wrong, and try to win the public, at least the females in the population, over to her side. Now, here's the problem with that. And I know this is going to sound sexist, but in my life, I have found this to be true. Women, when it comes to relationships, women tend to be a walking, talking lie detector test. They know when, especially another woman, they know when another woman is lying out their pie hole. Every female that I've talked to, they don't believe 1 inch of this woman's story. And the reasons that I keep hearing from these women is a lot of them say, I've been abused. And I remember when it happened and where it happened and every detail. I remember every detail. And for this woman to not remember even what year or where she was or who was there is absolutely not possible. A man wouldn't know that, but a woman knows that. So this plan to turn public opinion, especially the females, against Kavanaugh is backfiring. The problem with it is, until this committee grows a backbone and says, okay, enough is enough, we're holding the vote, You had your chance, so we're not negotiating. You do it here and now, or we're not at all. Now, up to this point, I have been against negotiating and putting off. However, I must say, Senator Grassley has done a good thing. Had they held the vote, even if they won, there would be sour grapes. Right now, he can look back and he can tell the people on the fence, hey, I offered to fly the whole committee to California and to do it in private. I offered to pay for her to come to Washington, and we could do it in public or we could do it in private. I reached out to her. I did more for her than I've done for anybody in the last however many Supreme Court justice nominations I've ever done. And she still won't come see us. We're done. Let's do the vote. Now, what conclusions can we draw? I mean, the vote hasn't been taken yet. But we have seen the left's total disregard for the law. We have seen the left use hired people to disrupt these hearings. Remember the week of the hearing, they arrested like 70 people because they were disrupting in 5 days. So they were paying people to fill the gallery. And I'm sure if you track the money, they paid for any legal fees they had, and they got paid by whoever paid them. But we've seen their total disregard. They don't care about the Constitution, and we can tell that based on the demands that their attorney is making. They don't care about legal right and wrong. They care about getting what they want, no matter what the consequences. So now that we've seen that, what conclusions can we draw? Here's the first one that I see. Nobody has talked about Judge Kavanaugh's rights or feelings. I mean, think about this. And especially for you women. If I were you, I would feel very scared for your husbands, your brothers, your sons, and because all that has to happen, no matter what they do, is some females pop up and make an accusation. The accusation alone ruins their life, i.e., Judge Roy Moore. And even if Judge Kavanaugh makes it onto the court, like Clarence Thomas, his career will be besmirched by an accusation, by a nobody. You should be very scared. And you should, if you are a female, you should be writing to every member on that committee and saying, vote this guy on and do it now. You cannot let an accusation ruin a good man's career. Because that could happen to you. It could happen to your family and your sons. Another conclusion that I can draw is more like, why does she get to give any conditions? Why are they even negotiating with her? The Judicial Committee has a set of rules that they govern by and have been governed by since its formation. And somehow this female comes out and thinks that she's going to dictate terms. First off, what gives her the right to even entertain the idea that she gets to dictate terms? And secondly, why is the Judicial Committee even considering negotiating? There is a flaw in the system. There is lack of leadership at the top. Another conclusion is this is a bad precedent for the future. This means in the future, no matter who's in the White House, Republican or Democrat, if they put forward somebody that the people, let's say that's a Democrat and the Democrats control the Judicial Committee, And so they put up a nominee that's a left-wing liberal. Republicans, all we have to do is go find a female, have her make some outlandish thing, or maybe another female, 2 or 3 females. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised after we draw this out and finally get it solved and get ready to take the vote if another female doesn't pop up. That's right out of the Democrats' dirty playbook. Then they'll have to put that one off. Then they'll have to negotiate with that one. See, that's where this is going. This is a bad precedent. Very, very bad precedent for the future. And if the roles were reversed, all the Republicans would have to do is go find a female, make an accusation, draw it out, scorched earth process, destroy their character, destroy their career, and then we don't pass anybody. I mean, this is a really bad precedent. Another conclusion is, and this one is obvious, the Democrats are only trying to delay. They don't care about him being a conservative. They don't care about him getting onto, because they know that if the Republicans stick together, they have no power to stop this. They don't care about that. They care about scorched earth and stall, delay, and pray that they take over in 2016. And they won't. It looks now like the Republicans are going to do pretty well. But even if they do, then what's going to happen? We're just going to get more of the same. No bills will be passed. The ones that are won't be signed into law, and nothing will get done. Another conclusion we can draw is the Democrats are obviously trying to divide the Republican vote. Now, and I talked about this last week. Murkowski from Maine is a rhino. She may as well be a liberal Democrat. But for right now, she is on board with Kavanaugh. Here's what the Democrats did. They set up a GoFundMe page, and last time I heard there was a little over $1.5 million in this fund. The Democrats went to Murkowski and said, you will vote against Kavanaugh. If you don't, we're going to give this $1.5 million to whoever your opponent is to see that you lose the election. And if you do vote against Kavanaugh, we'll give the $1.5 million to you. This is the second time she's been offered $1 million. Remember, Rosie O'Donnell did this when Gorsuch was voted, and she held the line. And so now they're doing this. They're trying to get any of the females in the Senate to vote against him by drawing out the sex thing. They're trying to devote all they need to do is get 2 Republican votes to go against him, and it's stopped. And here's the last conclusion. If the Republicans are not willing to fight here and fight now to get this vote done, what is the point, and when will they fight? The Democrats are fighting a dirty, dirty fight. And the Republicans aren't even fighting. They're bringing a sling fight. This is a gunfight. They are out to steal, kill, and destroy Republicans and their agenda. And we're trying to play like nice guys. Let's stop playing like nice guys and do what power does. Let's take the vote there, turn it out to the Senate, and then go break any arms that we have to break to keep the Republicans in line and get this vote done and over with. That's what leadership does. That's what power is about. And right now they're trying to play Mr. Nice Guy. I don't care about Mr. Nice Guy. I care about the agenda. That's why the American people voted Trump in there. To kick over tables, to drain the swamp, to build the wall, to fill the court with ultra conservatives, to reverse this stupid liberal agenda that the court has hoisted on the American people. Let's do that. And stop trying to play like Mr. Nice Guy. Well, that's about all I wanted to talk about for today's um, show. I do want to remind you again, as the sign says, check out prayerboxministry.org. That's org.org. Also, in kicking this off this week, I can't remember if I said, but we're going to do a series of 2 or 3 minute videos. In each video, we're going to push the Prayer Box Ministry, and then we're going to talk about one of the things that you can do on the website. I think the first commercial I did was about the oral Bible. So, but keep an eye out for our 2 or 3 minute videos. Go over there and check us out. If you like us, remember to share this program, and then bookmark or put an icon on your screen. Because I mean it, when they finally get around to little old me, I will be gone overnight, and nobody will be able to find me. So I need to push it now. So please do that so that we can line up and have people still be able to get our message even after they kick us off. Well, thanks for watching. That's the program. You guys have a blessed week. I look forward to next week when we can sit down and talk about this week in politics.